Tim Productions, and our film that we're going to be presenting is The Mask. So the film is in the horror thriller genre, and basically what's going to happen is a girl is left home alone for the weekend and becomes paranoid in her own house. So it is set in a 21st century modern house, and our target audience is teens and young adults, and was really inspired by the film Scream. So the plot line is kind of similar but not completely similar.
The reason we chose the name The Masked is because we want the person who is being the person that's paranoid this girl, why the girl is paranoid, is because we wanted it to be like a mystery. We wanted like the audience to be questioning what's happening throughout the film, and we want the audience to be involved with the film. So we wanted the audience to be able to sit there like throughout the whole thing and have to be able to watch the film, so the audience is hooked until the very end where the mask is revealed.
Also, one other aim of the film is to be very realistic, to immerse the audience in the diegetic world. We didn't want to overcomplicate the idea by adding too many characters in just the opening. So there's only going to be one or two characters throughout the whole film to make it realistic as possible in a scenario which teenagers might be aware of.
So these are our characters. So our first character is the main character, who's Violet, who's going to be played by our friend Jessica Burnett. She's 16, very bubbly, a little bit ditzy, but she's very paranoid. So, and then we have the Masked Man, who is not revealed, but is played by Lucy's brother James. And his identity is unknown, but he's tall and skinny, so that's all we really know about him.
And throughout the whole film, his identity will be unknown, and he won't be revealed until the end.
That's also to add mystery and suspense, which is common conventions of the thriller genre.
So our location, props and costumes, so it will be set in a large modern-day 21st century house. The characters will be in very basic clothing, so the Masked Man will be just dressed in all black with a mask on, which will just be like a plain white mask. And then Violet will be just dressed in like normal 21st century clothes, like fashionable clothes, like probably just jeans and t-shirt. The props in the sequence will include a phone, a kettle and a candle. And the equipment we'll be using will just be the equipment that we're provided with, so a camera, a tripod,
The Final Cut Pro.
The Final Cut Pro and a Mac.
Which is why we decided that we didn't need a budget for this film.
Because we don't need any additional funding. We would quickly like to point out that we're going to film this camera in two perspectives. So we're going to do it in first person, so we're going to do it from the perspective of the Masked Man. But we're also going to kind of do it in just third person, so we can actually see the Masked Man and how he's like roaming around.
We came up with a shot-by-shot list. The first shot will be a mid-shot of Violet sitting on a stool on the phone, and it'll be panned from the back of her to the front, so it's like going around, so we get an idea of the location, and we get an idea of what her character is, who she is and what she's like. Then we get an extreme close-up of the kettle, and it whistles, and then the camera zooms out, and then we get a long shot of Violet jumping off the stool to fix the kettle, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and there's nothing, and then you just hear her like shouting because the lights have gone out, and then you hear her like stumbling across towards where the candles are, where she lights a match, and when she lights a match her face becomes alight. Then we get a mid-shot of her putting the candle down, and she hears a door slam upstairs, and as the door slams upstairs the light of the candle goes out, and then when the candle goes out there's a knock on the front door, and the lights flicker on and off as she's walking towards the front door, and when she opens the door there's no one there, and then we get a shot of someone else's perspective from outside looking into her, and then we get a close-up of her feet running back towards the kitchen, and then from the doors in the kitchen you get an outside shot again of looking into her, like walking around like clueless of what's going on. And then at the end of the opening, it will be from the perspective of the masked, coming closer and closer towards her as the lights are flickering, and then it'll end when you just see him standing right behind her, and then the lights will go out, and then the mast will come, like
The
the name of the film will come up on the black screen.
I think the simplicity of the idea combined with the way we're going to shoot it will create suspense and mystery, and also by using Final Cut Pro and using simple effects and simple tints of the image, we can really create the thriller opening.
So this is just a description of the opening. So it starts with Violet saying goodbye to her parents on the phone, and then the tea is basically what Lucy's just explained. This is just a simpler version. Whilst she is making her tea, the light flickers and the electricity goes off. As she lights candles, she hears a door slam from upstairs and the candles blow out. She hears the doorbell ringing and she answers it, but there is no one. As she shuts the door, it is revealed that someone is watching her. The lights flicker once again, and with each flicker the masked man gets closer. Then the name of the film is projected onto a black screen. And these are some pictures of our location, which is Lucy's house.
This will be where she will be making her tea, and these doors, we're going to be filming at night, so it's going to be dark outside, so there'll be no natural light used, so we can get the full effect of the masked. And when we're outside filming, when we look inside, you'll only get the unnatural light of the actual lights in the kitchen, so it will make it more realistic.
But when we see the antagonist walking outside, I think that will create lots of suspense, because the human senses like to see everything. We'll make it nice and claustrophobic and sort of disconcert the audience. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have some questions, and some of the my other panel members may have some questions. You've obviously prepared thoroughly, there's lots of detail there, and that's all really good. My big concern is that you, out of all the things that you could do, you have chosen the most typical idea for a thriller. You have got a woman in a house being attacked or stalked by someone. The mask idea is quite a typical idea. It's a very, very standard. You said it was derivative of Scream. Scream was out a long time ago. Scream inspired loads of other kind of slasher movies along the same theme, and then that genre kind of died out because it was so overdone. Why have you come up with an idea that's quite a kind of cliched idea in the genre?
Because obviously Scream was made ages ago, so we thought we could modernise it and we could make it our own. And our unique point is that only in the opening, which we'll be making, they'll be showing two characters, whereas throughout the whole film where we thought ahead, they'll be only showing the masked man. He will be the main character, and there'll be no other main characters other than this girl that he's murdered at the beginning. So that's our unique selling point, that it's based on this one character, and he's not revealed until the end. So it follows him around, but it follows him doing his daily business, and it follows him he may murder some other people, but it will never reveal who he is until the end, and there'll be no other lead characters.
The fact it's filmed in London, some people might think Scream sort of cheesy because it's Americanised and over dramatised. I think if you sort of film a bit simpler and give it sort of conventions that people realise, like House in East London, people might find it more realistic.
I'm quite convinced by what you say, the idea of London, it being attractive. It's a British thriller, we don't get many of those, it's not the cliched American one with the all-American girl. I'm not convinced by what you say. I think to carry the weight of a full-length feature film with just one character might be a downside for me. I'm not completely sure about that.
He obviously will be interacting with other characters, but he will be the only character that's the camera focuses on, so it won't follow any other person around, it will follow him around and who he interacts with.
It'll be like the film, have you seen the film Chapter 17, where it's literally just it's about the shooting of John Lennon. And it's literally just focused on one character, and there's about 5 characters in the whole film, and it's actually a really good film, and I think it won Oscars and stuff like that. So.
For me, to really make this work, I think that you need to think again about how you're going to make that opening sequence a bit innovative and a bit different. Because from that particular sequence, we wouldn't necessarily be able to tell it's in East London. How are you going to sort of convey that? And really think about maybe doing some different things with the camera work or the soundscape that are just going to bring something different to that quite formulaic start. Yeah, because you can do a simple traditional idea really well, or you can do something completely innovative and experimental. But I could looking outside my role. I can show you lots of pieces of that are really similar to that that have already been made. So I want you to put in something that is different, just in terms of your camera work, in terms of the sounds or whatever. You take a simple idea, you've got to do it really skillfully. I think you can, I'm sure you can, yeah? I think that I want to see that little bit of innovation. And I'd like you to get back to me with those ideas before I fully approve your funding. Very nice presentation, very well organised. Sorry, did anyone else have any questions or pointers? See, this is the kind of panel that I have behind me. Can't get the right staff anymore.
They just love it so much.
Yeah, they're stunned, speechless, or sarcastic. Thank you very much.